Okay, this is the March 25th meeting of the Auburn School Building Master Plan Team. I guess we'll begin with Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the meeting is being recorded. Is there anyone else recording? There is not. Any citizen comments? No citizen comments. We have the minutes of our last meeting, February 25th, if anyone's had a chance to take a look at them or if they want to make any changes. If not, we would entertain a motion to approve.
I'd make that motion.
Second.
Okay, seconded, and, motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote. Okay, just an update from the last meeting. The two big items that we had in the budget we were looking at were the site work and the kitchen. The site work at the last meeting, we approved hiring Grace Engineering, and they have been out to the site. They've done some checking of the documents that we gave them and found no real issues, and they've done a very preliminary drawing, and within the next 2 weeks or so we anticipate that they will have some sort of schematic that we can take a look at. And the goal is to have that ready for bidding mid to late May. So that seems like it's moving along pretty good. Joe and I went over it with him today, and they have some questions, and there'll be some, I'm sure, some areas they really need to think about, but seems like it's a doable situation. The next item on the agenda is the kitchen renovation draft plan, and Janice King is here with us. She is the Director of Food Service for both Auburn and Leicester, and she's come up with a plan, a preferred plan, and it's a little bit over what we had budgeted, but certainly not unworkable. And we think what we want to do at this point is let her explain it to you, and then we can work with it over the next month or two to see if we can bring it all together.
What you have in your hands is actually two documents. The first document is the renovation plan that has a lot of the equipment allocations set aside, which I will be talking about later in the presentation. But this is to give you an overview of the renovation plan for this proposed area that we're looking at. Initially in this plan, to kind of walk you through it, this is the seating space for students in the dining hall, dining center. We've taken the original kitchen and bumped it back. There'll be actually 3 slides here that you'll see a progression of from the student's perspective, back into the kitchen, and then further back into storage and receiving areas. It's actually a really good workable plan, we think. We've utilized an extensive amount of equipment from Mary D. Stone, Julie Bancroft, and the current middle school to really help facilitate the renovation process. These are the primary serving lines. We have pass-through units which are filled from behind, and then the food is actually from trays actually pulled out from the front of the line onto the service area. So it creates a good flow through the kitchen itself. And then in this section here, we've expanded the area of warewashing with a new flight type dish machine, which would be more effective than what we currently have, an extension of the work table space for trays that can be pulled out of the dish machine itself. And then a 3-bay sink, which will be kind of containing the warewashing and pot washing area all in one. And that's a good piece of that too, is to do with plumbing, to make it more cost effective to run plumbing lines. Then in this area here, we have our washer and dryer, some sinks to do food preparation, our Hobart mixer, and then this will be a baking area, which we look to try to expand that programming throughout our entire district. Some service tables to work here, and then the main bank of cooking equipment would be right in the center of the kitchen itself. Some new pieces of equipment there, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And then moving farther into the plan is looking at a cold preparation area where salads and sandwiches and various other types of cold foods are made. So I'm going to take a look at that a little bit, your plan. Any questions so far? Okay, so then the next space is to, again, here's our mixer, our hot prep, our cold prep areas, a small office space, and then the receiving would actually occur in this back section of the kitchen with our storage space for freezer and refrigeration. A lot of our programming is going more toward frozen foods, fresh foods, not as much in the canned storage. So we actually, I think we have some pretty good flow here to actually get into those spaces for deliveries, as well as access to bring that product into the kitchen itself. And then this is a dry storage space here for various types of catering equipment or paper goods, other small wares type equipment. And then the third slide is just a continuation of that. We would utilize the space for staff dining, for locker rooms, bathrooms in this back section of the kitchen. As you can see, it's pretty well self-contained. We've tried to utilize the space recommendations for the National Food Service Management Institute, which does a lot of study on how kitchens should be designed. And we've been working really effectively with Gillette Equipment Company to help us look at that design process. But it's been moving along quite well. We've worked as fast as we can. This is a nice 3D version of how it would look, not only from the kitchen. This would be from the back side, looking from the kitchen out to the service area, where we would have cold prep here, sandwiches, salads, various kinds of cold foods. Then we would have our hot food here, our salad, our milk cooler, and then we would have a salad bar here right in the middle, which would be accessible from both lines. So we're trying to use as much as possible the equipment that we have, and then these would be 2 cashier stations. So this is what it would look like from the student perspective, where they would actually come in and see a variety of food, counters and variety of options available to them. So we took a look at the equipment, and one of the things that you'll note on your plan here is that you'll see the letter N, you'll see the numbers 1, 2, and 3. 1 actually stands for the existing equipment that we currently have in the Auburn Middle School. 2 would be equipment that we brought over from Julie Bancroft, and 3 equipment from Mary D. Stone, and then eventually the next section would be new equipment that we would need to purchase. And the piece of equipment that are from Auburn Middle School would be lettered with the number 1, and they're actually notated on the particular plan here, so you can take a look at that. And then Julie Bancroft, we have a few pieces of equipment, and also Mary D. Stone. Some pieces that are not notated on here would be things like shelving, stainless steel shelving that are on the walls, rack space, things like that that would be still really appropriate for us to put into the kitchen. But we're working on that part of the plan as well. Okay. In the next section, taking a look at equipment recommendation that had been provided us through Gillette Equipment. Again, it's very preliminary. We're looking to maximize the purchase of our equipment. We're looking to bring the equipment into purchasing plans with possibly the state Compass arrangement where we can buy equipment through the state, as well as looking at vendor support through purchasing large volumes of equipment. Many times you can get very good deals. So we're looking to try and maximize that expenditure. We'll start looking at how to prioritize the equipment that we have on our list, and then make recommendations for how to do it most cost effectively to try to meet that budget that was originally set out. Any particular questions?
Are you replacing the freezers and fridges?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you serve all the kids at once?
Excuse me?
Do you serve the students all at once?
No, they're usually generally served in 3 or 4 segments of meal periods, depending upon the schedule for that particular school. So we do accommodate the school, the academic program, and so we don't serve everyone all at once.
This one, I think, is 3 20-minute periods.
Yeah, that's what they said.
By grade level, I believe.
Yeah.
So we're looking to, serve upwards of, 500 students of the 600 that are actually enrolled. We're looking to try and maximize the potential of their participation, make it cost effective. So any questions?
Are we paying tax on the new equipment?
No, I apologize for that. No, we don't. So we're in this 183 range right now as proposed, but we're feeling that there's some things that, we can look at to economize on our purchase.
This isn't really a quote, this is, I think it's Gillette equipment that you've worked with, has been working with them and done the preliminary plan, and put numbers on it so that we have an idea of where we are.
We need to get a ballpark so that we can figure out, really where we're landing, basically.
How are people getting in and out of the staff dining?
Go back to that.
Well,
In this space here, there's a doorway here to the outside, and also because it is staff
Yeah,
dining
what are they
for our
gonna take their
service
food and go on
operation,
the outside?
they would actually enter from the inside.
no.
This is for the
Just
food service
so we don't
personnel.
confuse ourselves, we're not thinking of this as the teacher dining. This is the kitchen, I want to say almost locker room type.
Oh,
The
so
food staff
there's no
personnel.
dining area for teachers
Well,
within this?
what we need to do, now that we know the size of this, we've got the area behind where the two locker rooms are. And those, we need to figure out some way to get teacher dining and the restrooms in there. But there's plenty of room back there, so.
Yeah, I know, there's a lot of room.
Yeah. Again, this is drawn up from Gillette equipment, and that back area can be done any number of ways, Again, it's just kind of narrowing the scope down so that we know.
This is currently hallway
No,
space.
I'm looking
Yeah.
at,
So we're bordering off, this is the back hall, and then beyond this, then is additional space that can be accommodated into other purposes.
We're losing a door over here.
You probably will, we haven't even, we haven't really thought about that.
Yeah,
It
but-
very well could be. At some point, we're gonna need to get restrooms and the teacher dining back in there, so.
Yep.
If we can settle on this area as the perimeter,
Yeah.
then we can work with the rest of it as we go.
I think we're good to go.
all right, we're looking at 183 for the kitchen, what about the rest of the building?
No, wait a minute.
But
Through you, Mr. Chairman. I know suppliers would like to sell you everything in their catalog. Could you explain to me a $5,000 cash register stand?
Nice cash register.
Again, there are some pieces of this this is actually two units. They're stainless steel. They have, drawers in them, so that they are, again, sometimes food service equipment is a little bit more than you would
We're
anticipate.
probably jumping the gun and
maybe.
trying to be too specific at this point
I
in
want to
time.
also mention that the equipment has various other special features that are added into them, and we just received the quote yesterday, so there's still a little bit of work that we need to do to make decisions whether we want this particular feature added or this particular feature. We know that.
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say,
Understand now that we're just trying to get parameters for this thing to put it together. It's probably 3 months away from getting actually finalized into a drawing and finalized equipment, but it's representative numbers for each piece of equipment. It's not gonna be more.
no.
And we know it's gonna
very
go
likely
out to
be
bid, and
less.
we're gonna look at other items as we do it. As far as whether this is put out as a bid package, or it's bought, Joe buys it off the state list, that's a long way from getting to that point,
I
yeah.
think that the piece that's so, key for us right now is to, take a look at the space and how we've allocated it, to make it functional for the types of work as we see food service operations expanding in the future.
Right.
And we're building for the next 50 years, 40
Yep.
years. So, a lot of that opportunity is built into this design.
Yep. As an example, the cooler and the freezer are almost givens. They're outside now, they have to come in. So that is almost a given in the thing. And then you can work your way down as far as putting in a new serving line, and the warmers and that sort of thing. And I think you get down, you've got 3 pieces of equipment. They're what, 4, 5, and 7?
We've actually, we've looked at these, this particular bank of equipment versus where
This
the
is
largest
Obama for
price
her.
of equipment is located. And there are 3 pieces of equipment in here that we would place a priority on, so that, you know, we would meet that budget requirement. But then we would be looking, you know, potentially in the future to create the footprint so that we could add that equipment as funding is available.
Yeah. I think what we're thinking Janice is gonna do is as we've done with the main budget here, you know, tinker with this each month, and it might go up and down in some different areas, but we get it somewhere close to what we can live with.
Yes?
Do you see where you've got the separate food preparation stations
Right here.
as a need to add personnel to work in each separate station, or does your current personnel numbers handle that okay?
Current personnel numbers should handle this, because one of the things that we're looking at doing is addressing the sale function here. We have planned in 2 cash registers here, which would, you know, would require 2 people involved, but an efficient operation with getting food to the lines, having children move through, we could potentially just put another type of a tray slide here and have one cashier actually receiving students from both sides. With our electronic point-of-sale cash register system now, it's very efficient. We can process kids through a point-of-sale register much more quickly than we can serve them.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Or-
Do most kids use electronic cards, cash? What's
Oh,
the?
yes, it's definitely a growing trend. I think, you know, I'm going to be actually looking at the numbers, but we have probably at least 40% of our students using electronic, you know, funds at this point in time.
It's a lot quicker for you.
It's so much quicker. When a student comes through, their tray comes through, we look at their tray to make sure it meets the federal requirements. We hit one button, and it acts as a debit card for the students. Very efficient for families and very efficient for our students.
Any other-
Mr. Chairman, did we have a number before that we kind of had, we threw out there?
We have a placeholder in the budget of 150,000 for
Okay.
kitchen equipment.
All right.
Yeah. So this is, as an example, this is 183. You put it out to bid, you may pick up 5 or 10% anyway,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
so. I think we're certainly,
Hand grenades and horseshoes.
we're in the ballpark here, so. And, you know, it maybe some of the other items, you know, do get reused too. Maybe more items get reused, who knows? Who knows? Any other questions on the kitchen equipment? No?
It's a great starting point.
Thank you.
Please let me know any comments or questions that you might have.
Do you have a display board, what you're serving, like a menu that's up someplace, or how do you tell a student what's in?
Well, we actually have, you know, display boards in each cafeteria. We also now have electronic menus available to students. We have hand copies available to students as well. So it's, you know, and we try to keep things consistent for students as what's available on a certain day, which becomes very familiar to them. But,
Would it be the same day all week long? Do you change? How do you?
a lot of changes, actually. We've been implementing some new changes that we've been able to utilize a lot of the inventory we currently have, but we've introduced fruit yogurt parfaits this week. We have salad romaine boxes available for students now, and so a lot of new items are coming, you know, as we are able to create that space. Good question.
Any other questions? The next item on the agenda is sort of ties into this in that the drafting services, it might be wise for us at this point, obviously we haven't hired an architect and we probably don't need to hire an architect at this point, but if we could, what we need to do now is to put these plans, could you read that on the, is it possible? We need to put these plans on a drawing. Obviously, there's columns and things like that in the building that you need to make sure this whole thing is going to fit together. So it may be wise If we took something like a $5,000 allowance for drafting services and had somebody put this on, take this drawing, put it on the main building drawing, and then at the same time, we can lay out how we want to do the teacher dining and that sort of thing. So, and do it on an hourly basis. Might be something that we want to think about at this point.
We have the mechanical drawings for the kitchen, don't we?
We have the mechanical drawing, the underground drawing.
Okay.
I don't think we have much more than the underground drawing. But we do know where all the underground pipes are and all that.
May I ask, is all this square footage the same as the existing kitchen? It's just reconfigured?
Oh, no.
To use
It's,
space, or
it's
is it when
actually
you asked
taken
about
over-
the added space?
It's taken over the entire workshop, the woodworking shop.
woodworking,
Yep,
okay.
it's gone
What
all the
you
way
said.
back. We didn't
Okay.
really think it was gonna go back. We thought it would take like half of it.
Yeah,
But it really, it lays out, I don't know if you've been in that kitchen, it's pretty
Yes.
claustrophobic,
small.
So it does take the whole thing, but it allows that back area where the lockers were to be used for the teacher dining.
Okay.
And there's plenty of room for that, so. But again, that's something that, I think we can, with our own ideas, and just pay for the drafting to put it on a piece of paper rather than, at this point, hiring an architect, so.
Do we have to put that out for bid, or you
No, I
can just,
don't-
we can just,
I don't believe so, do we?
no, all right,
Has to be
okay.
over what,
So-
20? to
Make
go out to
a
bid?
motion
25 now? Has to be over
to-
25
Yeah.
to out to bid.
Hire a drafting firm for approximately $5,000
On an hourly basis.
on an hourly
Yep,
basis.
Yep. Is there a second?
I think that's necessary. Oh, I'll second that.
Okay.
I think it's necessary to move it more
Yeah,
definitive.
it's just the next step in the thing. Now that we know what equipment we want, now it's gotta fit into the building somehow, obviously.
Joe, if we could augment your motion to authorize the chairman to retain the services of,
I'm all in favor of that.
Anyway. Any discussion?
No.
Joe, did you have your hand up?
No, all in favor.
All those in
Jump ahead.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There's a vote. The next item is to discuss and vote on the warrant articles, which are transferring the CIP funds that the school department has been holding so that we can use them for this project. And by, if we do, if the four articles that are on the, Articles 1 through 4 are approved, it will allow us to stay with our $1.8 million budget, so, which hopefully is what we need. So, with that, I don't know, Joe or Mary Ellen, does someone want to go through this? What,
Sure.
maybe not in depth, but,
These actually, the school committee actually has already voted these. They needed to be into town hall by Friday. But I think it would be a strong sign of support if the master plan team voted their support of these as well. These the first four warrant articles match up exactly with documentation provided at the February 25th meeting to actually reutilize remaining CIP funds that date back, as you can see here, from 2010 and reappropriate them to the 10 Swanson Road renovation. The school committee and school department, under the guidance of Mr. Fahey, was very deliberate in not spending money on school buildings until a determination had been made, first, if a new middle school would be built, and then secondly, which buildings would be utilized. And this master plan team has come forward with those recommendations, both of which have been unanimously supported by the school committee, to reutilize 10 Swanson Road, and then to continue to use Packagug and Bryn Mawr School. So with the approval, the recommendation from you, and assuming approval by town meeting on May 6th, this will give us, as Mr. Ringard said, the total of the 1.8, which is our estimated budget right now to make all those necessary repairs. I'd be happy to answer any questions or Mr. Fahey, but these are in line with what's been provided previously.
What happens if we need more money? We go over.
we're not supposed to need more money.
We won't do that.
Yeah,
That's why we're going through this long, drawn-out, back and forth process to,
okay.
We're nickel and diming.
yeah. I don't,
If I may, this is money that's already been approved
Right.
for us, so we're transferring these funds over to the middle school. We're not asking for any additional money,
Right.
for the town. This is money that's already been approved.
exactly.
I think that's an important, through the chair, an important point, that this committee, the school committee, has been committed to from the start, because the townspeople were generous in supporting a new middle school to try and not, or to minimize, and right now it'll be a zero add, other than what's already been approved, we're just gonna reappropriate it.
Well, if we have 2.2 million and we're only looking for 180, what are we looking for?
We're looking for $1.8 million is what we're.
And we got
we're working.
2.2.
Yeah, that's correct, but I mean, there's some of that, the difference there is maintenance
Right.
items that Joe is
Yeah,
working on.
has to do.
That-
Yeah.
Right, so, but for the purpose of our renovation to get this ready,
We transfer all of it.
yeah, exactly, we're looking for $1.8 million. So these 4 articles will accomplish that, free up that money, so.
You'd like a recommendation or a vote from this
I
committee?
think we would
That we
to
support these
support
4
Articles 1 through 4, yes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote.
Awesome position, isn't it?
Okay. The next item, we just wanted to throw out and see what everyone thought. Maybe think about it, and we could try to do it next month, or whatever we thought, but knowing that, although it hasn't officially happened, and we don't anticipate it's officially going to happen for a while, there will be 2 buildings that are decommissioned. And would it be worth it to talk with other towns that have decommissioned buildings? See what they did and see what, what they did right, what they did wrong?
Reinvent the wheel.
I would
Yeah.
think that'd be, yeah, we
Yeah.
should do that.
So,
There might be one in Aruba.
yeah,
I don't think so.
All I see is scam.
Well, every time I went to Aruba, you guys did something that I
there
didn't
you
like.
go, there you go. But I mean, the school district could certainly send out a note to all the different
Yeah.
towns and say, who's done it? And then if, maybe next month, if 3 or 4 or 5 people want to maybe volunteer
Yeah.
for a subcommittee and with the idea of maybe towards the end of the summer coming back with some sort of report. Because at some point, we're going to have to sit down with the town and what's the next step and how's that all going to happen? So the more information I think we have, the better off we would be, so.
And Mr. Chairman, has the town indicated any preference on JB and Mary D?
I don't think anyone from the town
Even thinking
has
about
or can do anything until the school committee ultimately turns them over, which is
I mean,
probably a year away.
the school committee can still use those buildings
Right.
until they decide that they're not using them any longer, or they're no longer necessary for the school department. That's when the town
Right.
takes over.
Right.
So I think what Rick is saying, decommissioned as far as an educational facility is concerned.
Yep.
Correct?
Maybe you're gonna bump into a town that said, gee, the school committee decided to keep the building and wish they had,
Yeah.
or they gave it up right away and wish they had kept it, you know what I mean? So it would be worth having all that information before we start sitting down with other committees to see how it goes, so.
So we could move further on that next month or so.
Yeah, if somebody wants to volunteer to chairman of,
I'll do
maybe.
that. I'll do Aruba.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's think about that. We'll put it on the agenda for next month and see if we can get some volunteers and go from there. Next item, I guess, is new business, and I think we've covered everything unless someone has anything they want to bring up. No?
No, I think we're good.
One question, do you think drafting service could provide for next meeting? An augmented,
We can give it a shot, yeah. To at least get it on a piece of paper, and then, you can kind of talk about door openings and things like that, so. Any other business? No?
To the chair, if I'm just gonna
Sure.
ask, do we have a next SBC meeting date, Paul, after tonight's? Okay, but it's 7, yes, but we haven't 7, okay. All right.
But they haven't set next month.
Right. I didn't know if you wanted to set one, that's up to you.
You wanna hold off until they set theirs?
Well, we could also look at Tuesday, the 29th.
That 29th's good.
Does that work for everyone?
Yeah.
Works for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
29.
Yeah, no problems?
Okay.
At 6.
And 6.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. Entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's easy.